This is the best day of my life.
Just got to taste right.
Oh yeah, Friday night driving, I'm in love.
We got to do something. Absolutely. You know what we got to do?
What are you going to do?
We're going to go out and party.
For the first time in my life, I feel like there's hope.
Shock Talk Radio.
Uncensored.
And live. Cave Crew Radio.
This is radio. Cave Crew Radio.
Cave Crew Radio pre-show, ladies and gentlemen. Don't go anywhere. In about 10 minutes, we've got a great show ahead for you. We have our review of the Squid Game. We have our review of last week's exciting and shocking, believe it or what. We've got some great news coming up from Sir Big B himself, as well as our resident quick fix news guy, Mike Jolitz, reads the news. So you're going to want to stand by for all of that. But Big B, here we are, 1 week separated. We won't get into it too much from our very exciting, believe it or what, first round match.
That was one hell of a matchup. A great way to start the tournament.
Yeah, we'll get into that once we get into the show. You and I on the pre-show. We got the pre-show, we got the after show with Big B, and of course, you and I do a very quick pre-show to make sure we can hear each other.
Right.
We're talking about watching hockey in the United States, and you subscribe to a new network, but you're not getting all the games of your favorite team.
Right. So, a couple of months ago, I wound up cutting the cord, so to speak. I had Verizon Fios for television, and it was just too expensive. So I cut the cord, and I went to Hulu. Hulu Live gives me plenty of channels. It does have live sports, and is a hell of a lot cheaper. The one downfall is I don't have a local sports network called MSG, which is the Madison Square Garden network. And obviously the Rangers play at MSG, so it carries the New York Ranger games. Rangers being my hockey team. I can't watch them now unless they are on nationally televised games. So ESPN this season has picked up the broadcast rights for the NHL. It used to be on NBC and the NBC networks. So ESPN has an app called ESPN Plus. You got to pay a little extra for it. But because they bought the NHL broadcasting rights, I can watch a whole bunch of games through ESPN Plus. So I subscribed yesterday. I was watching the Toronto Maple Leafs against the Ottawa Senators yesterday, and you could choose the broadcast, whether it be the Maple Leafs broadcast or the Senators broadcast. I was flipping games. I was watching the Canadiens game yesterday a little bit, watching their broadcast. But again, because of blackout rules, I can't watch the Rangers.
Right.
So
and you do know the Rangers are going into Montreal tomorrow. Both teams 0-2.
Yeah, the Rangers, there's a lot of hype surrounding what the Rangers did for the bottom six. They got tougher. They got a new coach. There was a new life. Mika Zibanejad just signed an 8-year extension, which is great for the team. Everybody loves Zibanejad, but they're starting off slow, 0-2. They had life yesterday. It was, they lost in overtime, so at least they got a point. They look just flat on opening night. against Washington.
I do love Zibanejad, but I have seriously warned you about that coach.
See, I still don't. I mean, we're only 2 games into the season, so I'm not going to worry about it. But he took Vegas to the Stanley Cup Finals in their inaugural season. He turned around the Florida Panthers. He turned around, I forget the other organization he was with, but he turned them around too. He's a good coach, and the players like playing for him. So this is what the Rangers need to take that next step.
He took a Vegas team that was built to win and guided them. And Joel Quenneville is the one that took Florida to be what they are today.
Well, Gerard Gallant, when Florida was really, really bad, he was hired as their coach and turned them around and made them a decent organization. And then, left, and then they went on to bigger successes. But he turned around a really bad organization.
We'll see.
So that's what we're hoping for here in New York, because the previous coach, I don't even remember his name because he was awful, had no direction to this team.
We'll see. I like the Leaf coach. He's an unknown guy, and he swears like a motherfucker on the bench, and former player, and I love Sheldon Keefe. And once Austin Matthews comes back, I have high hopes.
Can I tell you, I'm watching the Leafs game yesterday, and that coach was screaming at the refs like there was no tomorrow. That's the kind of fire you want in a coach.
I love him. Well, they just gave him a 3-year extension. He's never had a full season or training camp with this team. Mm-hmm. And I think he's sick of the bullshit and the egos on this team. We've got John Tavares. We've got Willie Nylander. We have Austin Matthews. And we have the guy I can't stand, Mitch Marner. They need to play hard every game.
They need to play hard in the playoffs because they play well in the regular season, but they disappeared last year in the playoffs.
No, they're like little kids. They like to fall behind 2-0, 3-0 last night, and they almost caught up.
They did.
They need to crush people if they can. We'll see. Another game. Again, the advantages of ESPN Plus is I get all these other games, right? So I turned on the Tampa Bay Lightning versus the Detroit Red Wings yesterday, and I turned the game on. It was what was the score? 4-3 at the start of the third period. Detroit goes on and scores. Detroit was winning 4-3. They go on and score two goals. So now they're up 6-3. It looks like they're going to coast to a victory. They're in the third period, up by 3. Here comes Toronto storming back, scores 3 goals, ties it up at 6. They go into overtime, and Tampa Bay wins 7-6 in overtime. They came all the way back. What a game that was! I know that's bullshit hockey. when you're playing that kind of hockey, you want a tight game. As fans, we want a lot of goals, but you want a tight game as a coach, I would think. I'll tell you about Detroit, just a really quick thing before we go to the pre-show. The border to the United States, Canada already opened the border to them. You have opened the border to us as of November 8th. Mm-hmm. And I was online. I am getting free tickets to one Leaf game, but I was online and I text my wife and I said, I could buy an 80-inch TV for the price of us going to standing room at a Leaf game, or B, I could see 4 games in Detroit for the same price. Mm-hmm. Because I go to the Red Wing games, or I did probably 2 years ago now. Right. I get flash sales. They got $20 tickets.
Ooh, right now. Nice.
But the damn borders got open, and then we'll start getting on with this shit.
But can I ask a question real quick? Yeah. Why is that the only option to buy an 80-inch TV or hockey tickets? Why is that the only 2 options for the price?
Well, no, I'm putting it in comparison. I suppose I could buy a fine New York City hooker, or I could buy backstage passes at Kiss's farewell tour. There's a lot of things I could do. I was just trying to explain it to my wife in hockey ticket terms.
Gotcha. Okay, now I get it. I thought you had a specific amount of money to spend, and those were your only two options that you were giving your wife.
Tea with the Queen. Maybe Bill Clinton's comeback tour after his illness. We wish him well, getting better.
By the way, I think
in space like William Shatner. I don't know.
Go. By the way, we must discuss as we go live the update on the horse racing.
Oh yeah. Actually, it's gone flat, but we can discuss it. Here we go. By the way, are you ready?
I am ready.
All right, let's hit all the right buttons. And away we go.
Air traffic control, bringing New York. Roger that. Bringing Canada. 10-4. Gentlemen, we have liftoff.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Warning, Will Robinson. This program contains bad words.
Use caution.
If easily offended, enter
At your own risk.
We are back. Cave Crew Radio, Season 8.
Always.
On cavecrewradio.com.
There was a time when the world turned their back on men. Men with a dream and savage yearning within them. Legions compelled by passion that knows no boundary. A consuming flame that defies plausible explanation. Battling the forces of domestication, they find the courage to band together to experience the awesome power of the men.
I say this with all due respect.
Shut up! Shut up! Shut up! Shut up! Today's broadcast of the Masculine Feminist has been commandeered by the secret society No Ma'am.
Gonna go to a place like a shot and a beer, steak, man. Saying we can stop, get pancakes, and then we'll get laid, all right?
Why do you drink ice cold beer on a hot day?
Mr. Clavin, what else are you gonna do with it?
To alcohol, the cause of and solution to all of life's problems.
The Yankees are champions of baseball. It's a power
This is Cave Crew Radio.
Indeed it is, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the show. My name is DK. I'm live in my cave in Windsor, Ontario, Canada. We are live on YouTube. We are live on Facebook and over at cavecrewradio.com. We are always available wherever podcasts can be found. So just check us out. Search Cave Crew Radio. It's great to be here. We have a big show for you tonight. We have a lot of things to get to. Big B keeps adding to the docket. So be prepared. We're going to review the Squid Game. We've got to talk about last week's Believe It or What. We've got some weird news. But before we get to any of that, I'd like to bring in my trusted co-host, the Duke of Uranstancelli, as knighted by the Queen herself, the self-proclaimed President of the United States. And of course, ladies and gentlemen, if you're a longtime listener, you know he is always the epicenter of something. Ladies and gentlemen, Sir Big B.
Yes, live from Queens, New York, I am Sir Big B, your president-elect of the United States of America. And as DK says, as always, I'm the epicenter of something. This week, I am the epicenter of all things bedroom renovations.
Oh, dear. I just went through look behind me. We're still going through it, but we're going through basement renovations.
Right,
I pity you. I pity you.
And yeah, I know you went through a kitchen renovation not too long ago. So we are going through a bedroom renovation. My wife has decided that we have a queen bed. She's decided we're getting a king bed.
Uh-oh.
So we've got
good or bad?
Well, it's good. It's bigger.
I know, but is that because you're hogging the blankets? You're snoring? Is it to provide more room during sleep or cause distance?
We had a king bed. When we had gone on vacation somewhere, and it was roomy. It was comfortable. So she's had this in her mind for a while that she wanted to do a king bed, and we're trying to figure out the logistics in our bedroom because our bedroom's smaller.
Yeah, I don't think I could fit a king bed in my room.
Right. So we figured it out. So she's pieced the bed together. We didn't go to one place. So the mattress we got from Ashley Furniture. It's one of those in the box. Yeah. So it's like a mattress in a box that's rolled up. So that's in a box. Then we got the bed frame. It's a metal bed frame we ordered from Amazon. Other pieces of here and there. So it was kind of pieced together. So tomorrow starts the renovation. But what that means for me is I get to go buy a Sawzall.
Oh, I have one of those. That is the best saw in the world.
Yes, and I don't have one. I get to go buy one because what happened? Because the bedroom's on the second floor, and it's, the stairs are tight. So I'm gonna be able to cut the box spring up using the Sawzall. I can't wait.
This is excellent. A Sawzall cuts through nails on the deck. It can go in weird directions. The other saws are probably more powerful in like the cut, but the Sawzall is my favorite tool.
It's in the name. It cuts all. It's a Sawzall. It cuts everything. I can't wait to go to Home Depot tomorrow and pick up my Sawzall, and that's going to make this whole renovation worth it.
They always get you. They always throw you a bone, don't they?
Of course.
And that's how the wife did that with the kitchen. That's where I got all these different saws and things. And believe it or not, I still pull them out once in a while for different jobs. And it's awesome to have a good selection of tools.
Yes. Oh, absolutely. My wife originally pushed this as we'll do this. You get to use your chainsaw to cut things up.
Yeah, that's a little rough.
I was thinking about it. I was like, yeah, okay, cool. I can use the chainsaw. And then I really started thinking about it. I was like, it's not really that's not what a chainsaw is meant to do. And I said, all right, if we're going to do this, I want to get a Sawzall. And she was firmly in agreement because that means we get to do this. So yes, tomorrow I go get my Sawzall from Home Depot.
At any time when using the Sawzall, will there be a reason to, for backup or polish some edges or something hard to do? Will the propane torch come into play?
Not in the house. No. We will never. I will never use the propane torch in the house.
Okay,
that's a little much. Just the Sawzall.
Okay, I'm very excited for you. Because I thought I was the only one. I'm not Bob the Builder, I'm not one of these guys that just makes things happen in a house. It's a big struggle for me. Mm-hmm. But when I get a new tool, it's so cool. And I've tried. My wife laughs at me, but I think you'll understand. If you're asked to do a job and you've got like these shit screwdrivers and wrenches and drills and saws, and they wonder why you bitch. And then you get these really cool tools. And again, I'm not a carpenter. I'm not that guy, but the tools really do make a difference.
It does. It really does. I've done a lot of things trying to, put things together out in the yard, with the various grills and furniture and all of this, with some cheap ass, like you said, cheap screwdrivers and whatever else, cheap little wrenches that, just can't grip or whatever. You get good quality tools. It makes the job more pleasurable to do because you're not struggling with everything, and it makes it faster to do too.
And what I got out of all this, just to give you a heads up, so maybe this might be your next thing, is you get a really good tool chest from Home Depot. And mine has like this wood board on top of it in the shed, and you store all your stuff. And you really feel like a good fix-it guy.
Right now, I just have a tool bag.
Yeah, I think you've got to catch on to me here.
I will. I can't force that tomorrow because we're getting the Sawzall. But after I get the Sawzall and we do the work upstairs, I could kind of push it and say, hey, look, I got some tools last year for Christmas. I got a bunch of hand tools last year for Christmas. I got the Sawzall. We need a place to store these things. Might be a good idea to invest.
Baby steps.
That's right.
Baby steps. Well, that's awesome. I know you wanted to ask me about the horse racing, and I hate to disappoint you, but I'm sitting there with a balance of, I believe, $26. I haven't touched it in 3 weeks.
Wow. Okay.
I've occasionally thought, oh, geez, the horse race is Sunday. I should go on and place a couple bets for fun, but I get wrapped up in football or, cooking or barbecuing or other things. And I have nothing to report. I have not lost my house. I've not raped. And the money's sitting there. Perhaps I should cash it out and buy a pizza.
So let me ask you this whole horse betting thing that you started, was it like something you came across one drunken night and said, hey, that'll be a good idea, and like the thrill lasted for a couple of weeks and then it wore off?
Yeah. Well, what it was is about 2 years ago, I guess, everything is in the past. We went to the horse races. I've been other years, but and we bet, and it's always fun because you can bring $20 each and bet on a race, and you cheer for the horse, and sometimes you win, and sometimes you lose. And we ended up not going, and I was kind of pissed off. And I Googled this HPI bet site or whatever it was, and I threw my $20 in there. And then, of course, this wonderful thing with Bluetooth and Wi-Fi, I streamed it from my computer onto my smart TV, and I cheered for my horse. And as you know, I was right into it for about 2 weeks.
Yeah, you were
football's
right
on, hockey's on. I got to pick up my new glasses tomorrow. I want to get a haircut. This shit goes on now.
Right, you were all in. For a couple
I was
weeks.
so excited about it.
We were getting.
You got to realize is I started with 20. I think I went up to like 50. Went down to like 15, and I'm sitting with what I say, $25 or.
See, I would get updates during the week before shows in the middle of the week. I just, I won $2 on number 7 in the 5th, whatever it is. And we haven't gotten those updates lately. So I was curious.
Yeah, but now football and hockey are happening, and yeah.
Will there be betting on football or hockey?
No, you know what? Now that could become dangerous, and now we have what we call single sport betting here in Canada, and I know you've had it in the States for years and years, but they finally legal, and that could become dangerous because I really, really, really like college football, American college football. I love the NFL, and I love hockey. But I love it enough just to cheer and have fun. I'm not, betting any of that shit. Not a chance. That could be the horses. Never. See, I'm bored of it already.
Right.
Car races, never. Hockey and football are my two sports I really, really love. And I think I know it. And I'm usually right when there's no money involved. As soon as I put money on it, it's going to go south.
Then there's an issue.
Yeah, not a chance.
So you talked about college football, American college football. Is there Canadian college football? Like, I've never heard of that, Canadian college football teams.
Have you ever watched Canadian football? Like
I've watched
awful.
Yeah, I've watched like the Grey Cup and
Yeah, there's like 3 downs. It's like fucking watching Aussie rules football on TV. It is not football. It's like in the States, you have a high school game, you draw 10,000 people. That's how a hockey game is here.
Right.
Right? If I want to watch football, I'm going to Michigan or somewhere else. And I'm watching a football game. Over here, yeah, we're not football players. We're hockey players. We get some pretty good basketball players. We get some pretty good baseball players. None of which I ever like to really follow that much. I want football. I watch American football. Love the NCAA. And I like the NFL as well.
Okay.
But you want hockey. Like, if the Americans are catching up, mind you. But if you want to see good amateur hockey, you look up here.
Right.
Watch a bunch of 15-year-olds playing a hockey game, and that's equal to what you see in, the Little League World Series or a high school football game. That's how you compare it.
Well, that was, before the huge influx of European players came into the NHL, it was always, even players from America would have to travel to Canada to play in all the lower level leagues to work their way into the NHL picture. So Canada was always, filled with various hockey leagues.
Yeah. And remember, we have a lot smaller population than the United States, but the USA hockey program is one that's admired. I think I've told you before, I used to go on when I was getting drills, when I was coaching, and I would use the USA program quite often because the Canadian program still stuck a lot in tradition. And believe it or not, it's the American program, which brought a lot of speed and allowed the opportunity for a lot of the smaller players to excel in what we're seeing in today's hockey. So
yeah,
there's a lot of USA hockey. You're used to the center, left wing, right wing. The philosophy of USA hockey, which I think was originally kind of a Russian type of thing, but the Americans perfected it, was the forwards would be named F1, F2, F3, meaning first to the puck, second guy in, third guy in. And not to say you don't have a center and a left wing and a right wing, but allows your offense and your defense, for that matter, to be a lot more flexible.
Right.
When you think of, instead of the center holds, he can go anywhere. The left winger's got to stay on the left side. The right winger's got to stay on the right side. When you think first to the puck, second to the puck, third to the puck, it allows you, it's a little bit more fluent.
Sure. And it gives you more of an opportunity for playmaking.
Right.
You can create plays based upon that instead of just, okay, you're going to be at this spot because that's your position.
Right. The other thing I'm very big fan of that I grabbed mostly from American hockey, the rushing defenseman. and a forward would drop back. Quite often I would have my best guy on the defense. Anyway, people don't want to hear about my hockey. I'm sitting here doing a comedy radio show. But speaking of competition, let's bring this down. And I think it's very important that we at least touch on for a few minutes. An event that happened last week. And here's a little clip.
It was a hard-fought battle in the first round. The person to advance to round 2 is Amanda. Congratulations. Who is next? To believe it or what?
And within the coming weeks, we need to name the next round. We're about 2-3 weeks away. I know producer Scotty is excited. Isbia is very nervous. It's that top tier I'm very nervous about myself, though. Ripka accepted, but I don't know where he is. And now Afka is dropped off the map all of a sudden this week. So
I say we start putting out the feelers now for that matchup, and try to get some dates locked down now to give them time. Because ultimately, I think we want to do that. Hopefully, the very last matchup of the first round.
Oh, okay. Leave Amanda hanging is what you're saying.
Well, not leave her hanging, but that is a marquee matchup.
Yeah.
That is the return from the original Choo Choo Mania, the continuation of the blood feud.
I don't know if it's a marquee matchup of brilliance.
Oh, well, I never said that.
Or of who's going to win. But surely it is a star power.
Right. Yeah. I never once said it was brilliance. Yeah. It's just a marquee matchup of a rivalry, a blood feud that's been going on for years.
It's like if it was WrestleMania, that's the match that goes on last.
Right.
Two old bums that have big names that are probably going to get taken out by the undercard at some point.
So yeah, we definitely need to figure out the next matchups. But looking back on last week's matchup, and we said it last week, we said it on the pre-show this week. It was a tremendous match to start the tournament. Let's do a little recap. I'll go back on my notes because I have my scorecard.
Well, you're checking the scorecard, though. I gotta admit, and I don't know if you felt the same, but as the guy reading the questions, it was kind of a feeling out party for me, because I'm used to you, and it's very casual.
Right.
When we were a little more strict in the rules, there was a little bit more at stake.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I had a little bit of game nerves myself.
Well, and I had to be like really laser focused on these questions because I'm a lifeline.
Yeah.
So every question that's asked, I have to go through in my mind. Okay, what do I think the answer is, and I have to be ready to help one or the other when they want my help. And luckily, it was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on the 6th round of questioning is when they both used me as the lifeline, and I was able to get both of the answers correct for them.
You helped them both. What I found strange, and I don't think they knew the leverage of it, although Amanda spoke of it in our post-game interview. Neither one pushed the question to the other one, afraid perhaps that they thought the other one would know the answer.
That's a real tough one to kind of use because you don't know the opponent's knowledge base. You don't want to put yourself in an advantage. You kind of got it. That's one that you really have to plan out. All right, if the score is this, will I use it then? what are the ramifications? Where am I going? Am I first or second? There's a lot that goes into that one lifeline.
Yeah.
That maybe they just didn't want to even consider.
It was too tight. I mean, Amanda had her back against the wall. She was losing 2-0
very quickly,
and you could tell the wind in her sails was gone.
Mm-hmm.
And we encouraged her, like, one question, you're back in, and she turned it right around. And,
she was down. It was 2 right off the bat. First 2 rounds, she was down 2-0. Eric the Swede, really quick. Got the first 2 correct. Eric missed the third one. Amanda got it, put her right back in, down 2-1. They both missed the next round. Eric missed the round after that, so now he's missed 3 questions in a row. Amanda got that question and tied it up at 2, and this started a run for Amanda of getting the final 4 questions correct without missing.
Good for Amanda. And I believe you originally picked her as one of your odds-on favorites.
I did.
Yeah. So I think she's very smart, and she like she said, and she knew 2 of the ones she got wrong, but she thought it was too obvious.
Right.
And that's the craziness, is all these questions may seem very difficult, but if you got a gut feeling, sometimes you got to run with it.
Go with it.
The amazing part of that show, ladies and gentlemen, was when Big B came out, and I don't have the question here in front of me.
Mm-hmm.
He knew the opera question.
Oh, the ballet question.
Ballet question. Sorry, same thing in my book. I wouldn't. It was that one. I think was the shocker. Is I know Big B knows a lot about a lot of stuff, and I like to play Jeopardy at home sometimes too. But yeah, that one really got me.
Well, that's why I'm the last participant. The winner of this tournament faces off against me. That's why I know a little bit about a lot of things.
And that's what I like. My wife will sometimes, when I play, well, how did you pull that out of your ass? I go, I don't know. It's like you got to narrow things down, and sometimes just you don't know the whole story. You just know the answer to the question.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
Going back to what Amanda said, sometimes the obvious answer is obvious, but you think it's too obvious. And you said, if you have a gut feeling, go with your gut feeling. I've crossed that up too a number of times playing this game, where I've had a gut feeling in my mind. I said, it's got to be this. And I'm tossing it up between 2. And I go against myself and say the other one, which turns out to be wrong. And my first choice was correct. So a couple of times that's happened to me.
Like the funny one was the one about the K. I knew it because of baseball.
Yeah, because of baseball, right.
The baseball is what threw her off. She knew it because of potassium or something like that. I would have never got that. The baseball would have, yeah, that's it. And that's the fun of it, ladies and gentlemen. That's the fun of Believe It or What. We encourage you to play along, and there's a lot more Believe It or What to come.
And what watch out for Amanda. She's now understands this tournament, and she was very nervous going in. I think she's gained confidence.
Yeah.
Watch out for Amanda.
Nervous. I think she gets frustrated with herself easy. She has to overcome that mental toughness, but she's actually a very smart girl.
She knows a lot more than she thinks she knows. She knows a lot more than she gives herself credit for.
Yeah,
I should say, and she can become dangerous in this tournament.
And then you got the 2 Scots, Jason and producer Scotty, that think they're hot shots, and they might get shot down.
Well,
one of them has to advance. So,
right, one of them has to advance, and I don't know the backstory behind this, but producer Scotty was the trivia champion on the Double Talk Radio.
Yes. We used to have a segment called Stump Producer Scotty, and he did go on a pretty good run. So I shouldn't negate that because my memory fails me. But Jason Scott uses a lot of big words. But I'm not sure how much he really knows. Well, anyone can win. I'm just here to read the questions. And anyhow, let's go into the next segment here. And I got to introduce this a little bit. Everyone and their sister was talking about this Netflix show called Squid Game. And it was a Canadian holiday last week, and there's nothing on TV, on daytime American television, if it's not a holiday in the United States. So I said to my wife, let's watch this. She said, it's not my cup of tea. She said it again tonight. I said, you're lying because you sat there and watched the entire thing with me.
Mm-hmm.
And I love the way you put it in our chat. It's awful and wonderful all at the same time.
All at the same time.
All at the same time. So, ladies and gentlemen, the show we are talking about that we'd like to discuss with you, and feel free to give us your feedback, is Squid Game. Which is a Korean-made show for Netflix, which is now the highest-grossing Netflix series, or it's not a movie, so series they've ever had. Big B.
Now, keep in mind what that means. Netflix had The Office.
Yeah.
Which, for years, everybody watched The Office 15 times.
Yeah.
Netflix has Breaking Bad.
Yes.
People watch that all the time. Squid Game is outdoing The Office and Breaking Bad.
Yes. And you need to explain to us what you mean, because I feel the same way. I feel like I'm watching a good series, but I'm watching an old Godzilla movie. What did you mean by it's wonderful and terrible all at the same time?
So I too, the first thing I thought of was the old Godzilla movies, because the overdubs in this are horrible. So obviously it's a Korean made series. So it's in Korean. Those of us here in the US, Canada, so forth, we wouldn't understand it. So they don't do subtitles, they do overdubs. So there's American or English speaking actors that overdub the words. One, they overdub they voice act god awful. It's terrible.
Yes. They try to sound Korean in an English way.
It is fucking terrible. Two, I don't know, and this did get better as the series went on, but the initial couple of episodes, they overdubbed everything. So they didn't use any of the ambient sounds within the original series. So everything was overdubbed. So what that means is not only was there an actor overdubbing the words, and you could tell it's in a studio because there's not the outdoor sound or whatever the natural reverb would be within whatever set they're on. There's also what's called a Foley artist. They're making the sounds of like a glass moving across a table, somebody walking. They're not using the actual sounds that were made when they filmed.
It's like Orson Welles' War of the Worlds in 1942.
Right. Somebody sitting in the studio, like, pretending to walk, and they're recording his footsteps. So the overdub is god awful. It is fucking horrible. And my initial thoughts were, when it started to get into the graphic kind of killing type stuff, was, and I mentioned it to you, it's the Wish.com version of Saw.
Yes.
But on the other side of it, the storyline is so good that all of that stuff is overcome. You can get past the horrible overdubs, the terrible sounds, the overall Americanized production of it, because the storyline is so good.
And because I can't do the hub like you, I loved, of course, 456 was the main guy. 218 was a good one. Number 67, I really liked, the young girl.
Right.
My favorite, I think her number was 12. Was that, and this is where I get the Godzilla from, was that woman who banged in the bathroom.
Right.
I loved her. She was the one that reminded me more than anything of a Godzilla movie. She was fantastic. Her and her voice stand-in were both amazing.
See, I didn't like any of the stand-ins. I honestly didn't. But she, as an actress, was really good. The other girl that you're talking about, 67, who was the supposed North Korean girl.
Yeah.
I've watched a whole bunch of things about Squid Game since then. And this was apparently her first acting gig. She's a model over in South Korea, and she's beautiful.
Yes.
I've seen her modeling pictures, and man, she is stunning. So this was her very first acting gig, and she did a great job.
Yeah.
In this series, 450. I have to say, 456 was a piece of shit.
Yeah, but
I don't
and terrible at the same time.
I know, but I don't mean a piece of shit in the production side. I mean his character, the way they wrote his character. He's a piece of shit.
Yeah.
Because he cheated the old man. He took advantage of the old man with the brain tumor to win at the marble game. He, at the very end, instead of going to see his daughter, he doesn't board the plane. He goes back to or supposedly he's going back to the island to find out whatever happened.
To take over the game, I believe. It's like a Willy Wonka.
Right, but in the very beginning of the series, he feels bad because he can't get his daughter this, he can't get his daughter that. He has a chance now. He has the money. He has a chance to go see his daughter, and he doesn't. He wants to go back to the game. He's a piece of garbage, is what he is.
Yeah.
But he's the hero, so to speak, in this series.
Well, he's the focus of it. I mean, there was a lot of, there was some that passed that I felt very bad about. I never did like the guy with the tattoo on his neck.
Well, that was his point. Nobody liked him. That's his point.
He never caught me. But a few of the other characters, the guy he fought at the end, and I felt for them. But what got me as it went along, and I hope I'm not spoiling this for people. I hope by now you've seen this, but like the stealing the organs and the young kid, the brother.
Yep.
Those side stories really started drawing me in.
And that's the whole point of it being awful and wonderful all at the same time. The storyline was so good that you really look past all the production awfulness that went on with this series. The storyline was really, really good, and the actors did a great job in this series.
And then like the rich Americans coming in at the end to watch. What were they? The exclusive guests, they were called, or something like that.
Right. Yeah. I kind of, that kind of, they had the masks. It was like an Eyes Wide Shut thing, that Tom Cruise movie. That was like,
That kind of reminded me when that started happening, like the Purges.
Right. Yeah, it's something along those lines. But again, it's kind of integral to the storyline because now you understand this is all, as was said at the end. People like we talked about. You bet on horses, they bet on humans. So this was all a game to the super rich, betting on who would win.
Yeah,
just like you would bet on
and
one
kind of
horse.
along the lines of a running man. Now, I guess my question is though, they can't turn their backs on this. Now, according to the guy who wrote it, produced it, did the whole thing, it took him over 10 years to do this. He's in over his head.
Well,
sorry, go ahead.
Well, it took him 10 years because he shopped it for 10 years and nobody wanted it until Netflix finally decided. And, during that time, and I saw like, something about a small little blurb about the writer director that, he was over the 10 years, obviously he's rewriting, making changes, but he shopped it everywhere and absolutely nobody wanted it.
Right.
Until Netflix stepped up and took it.
But I guess the thing now, where do we go from here? You can't turn your back on that. Not Lonesome Dove, Yellowstone with Kevin Costner over on Amazon. It took off. They're bringing it back. Cobra Kai, the remake of the Karate Kid stories, it's taking off. They're coming back. There's so many that have failed. They've done a season and they said we're not doing another one. This cries and beckons and doesn't even matter if it's a flop or not. There has to be a season 2 of Squid Game. Do the Americans step in and do a big production where maybe 456 is the guy behind the mask now running this and it's an international thing? Or do they back this Korean guy and go back to maybe more behind the scenes? How did this start? Yada, yada, yada. There's so many angles you can take. What happens next is probably the most fascinating thing about this.
Right. And that's, as much as I hate the ending, and I said, 456's character is a piece of garbage because he doesn't go see his daughter at the end. The whole point of that is to build a season 2, right? Because he's about to board the plane. He calls up the number again. They tell him not to come. He hangs up and he turns around from the flight and heads back. So he's going to try to go back to the game. So that opens it up for season 2. Now, one of the theories that is going on that I was reading was the old man, number 1, 001, the head guy behind the game.
On his deathbed.
Just him in general.
Yeah.
The theory is that he is 456's father. Because there are things in there in dialogue that they had. Like, you remember when 456 didn't want the milk. He said he didn't drink milk or whatever it was. The old man said, "Oh, my son didn't drink milk either. And you must have gotten punished a lot as a kid." And 456 says, "Yeah, how did you know?" He said, "I used to punish my son too." When they were playing the marble game at the end, the old man, number 1, was, "Oh, this looked exactly like my neighborhood where I grew up." 456 said, "Yeah, me too." So the theory is they're putting things.
What about when he said, "I remember my name now"?
Well, they're saying
that he says, "I remember my name now."
Right, but they're saying that the name translates into the number 1.
Oh, okay.
So, but the theory is that that's his father. So if they do a season 2, they could do that story arc where, those that are running the game kind of embrace him as being the son.
So
the thing I'm thinking is
who his father was.
Huh?
It's a father he never knew.
Right. Yeah.
Okay.
But my thing is, because this is such a monstrous hit, I mean, worldwide, everybody's talking about Squid Game. It's the number 1 thing on Netflix ever. My thing is that whenever something like this normally happens, when something season 1 explodes, season 2 is always a flop because they try to outdo season 1. They don't stick to their mindset of season one, and this is kind of how they weave things. They want to do it bigger and better and, huge and all of this, where it becomes a parody of itself and not worth watching. So to your question, I'm hoping the Americans do not get involved in this, because they're the first ones that will explode this thing and make it Hollywood-esque.
Oh, right, CGI.
Yeah, and it'll be terrible.
Yeah.
I hope if they go to a season 2, which it looked like they were building to, that they let this Korean.
Baby, this is beckoning for an encore.
Well, I agree.
Good or terrible, whether we weigh one way or the other, this thing needs an encore.
No, 100%. As long as it's done correctly, and they let the Korean writer and director write and direct season 2. I don't want to bring in, Michael Bay to start writing and directing season 2 of this. It's, it'll turn into, like I said, a parody of itself, and it'll be worth watching.
It'll be visually pleasing, but absolutely no storyline.
Right. Yeah. And yeah,
they'll have Tom Cruise with his new fat face running through the events.
Right.
I just think if they put their minds together, they can come up with some pretty good games and let this guy write the characters.
Right.
If they work together, it could work.
Yeah. And going with the storyline, if it is true that the head guy who died, the number one, was 456's father, that's a great story arc to follow into season 2.
Right. Maybe give a little bit of the childhood.
Right. Yeah. And see maybe his transformation into, maybe running the game, being the guy now running the game. I like Facebook user says, off wonderful. When I said it was awful and wonderful, he says off wonderful. Facebook user. That's a new word coined, and I'm going to write that down as a possible show name. Off wonderful.
And then they also said they don't have enough storage on their device for Netflix. I didn't knew we needed storage. I thought it was a streaming thing.
Right. Yeah. You the only storage you need is for the actual Netflix app, which is like a couple of megabytes. It's not a huge thing.
Before we move on, and we'll go to Mike Joel's Reads the News before we get your stuff, give you a little break. But who was your favorite character? I love that freaking old slut. She annoyed the shit out of me, and I loved her at the same time.
Honestly, my favorite
fat guy that lost at marbles to the guy with the tattoo on his neck. But I loved her.
Honestly, my favorite one was the Player 67. Was that girl? She played her character very, very well. Where she was the tough loner, but then broke down in that marble game when she had to face off against that other girl, knowing that one of them is going to die. She was such a good guy. I really, really liked her.
Yeah, I did too. But I just that fucking that woman reminded me of she's the one that got me into the Godzilla thing. Like everything no one can pick me. But the person, I know you didn't like the voice actors,
no.
But the person that voiced her to her body language was perfect. And if there's not an Emmy or whatever award they give out now, I don't know, for supporting actress, I don't know what's going to take it.
Oh, and that's a good point. I'm curious to see like what awards this show gets, because the show.
Well, the writer, director, producer should take the whole fucking shebang.
Well, but keep in mind this show was extremely violent.
It was extremely violent, and apparently something we don't really have time to touch on that I've read a lot about is I don't think you and I got the true story, because they're criticizing. There was Korean Americans or whatever that speak both languages fluently that said it was not translated well at all.
Really?
Well, I mean, what we saw on screen was obviously accurate, but you're saying it was an amazing storyline. We might have been missing some intricacies of all this.
Oh, interesting. Okay. Because you never know, right? You don't know what they're speaking in Korean. So you can only trust as to what the American lines are.
I don't speak a word of it. Anyway, let's give you and me a quick break before we come back and do some more stuff. Favorite segment of ours. Seems really committed this year. He's delivering every year. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Mike Jolitz reads the news.
Hello, Cave Crew Radio. Hello, DK, and hello, Sir Big B. Kia ora, guten tag, and konnichiwa, bitches. How the hell are you guys? I am doing fantastic. All right, guys, it is now time for the news. Arizona Coyotes season started this week. Yeah, love the NHL. Let's go Coyotes. Wednesday was National No Bra Day. I love that day. Free the puppies. Thanks for participating, Amanda. Phoenix Mercury are in the WNBA jump shot and layup finals. Yeah, they tied up the series at a game apiece on Wednesday. I have no idea who they're playing. Singer and brain-dead human Demi Lovato has announced that the word alien, as it pertains to extraterrestrials, is offensive. Back on the drugs, girl? Sure sounds like it. And apparently, I won the USA Lottery on September 23rd. And then to add to my excitement, I won the Missouri Lottery on October 2nd. I'm just waiting on the checks to arrive, although I don't remember buying a ticket. Russell Wilson of the Seahawks injured his hand last week. He'll be out 6 weeks. Baker Mayfield of the Browns injured his labia majora. Trey Lance of the 49ers sprained his uvula in a loss to the Cardinals. And Carl Nassib of the Raiders reported a butthurt injury after the John Gruden 10-year-old email was released. That does it for the injury report for now. Representative Maxine Waters tweeted on Tuesday, not news in itself, but the tweet came from her so-called hacked and erased Twitter account. I'll give you a second to let that sink in. And finally in the news, skateboarder Bam Margera from the Jackass series is back in rehab. Yeah, sure hope he turns his life around. Sadly, all that stupidity, it's hard to stop. His reverse does not work. Alrighty, guys, the weather. Heading over to Windsor, Ontario, Canada. On Saturday, it's going to be a high of 58. Sunday, a high of 62. And Monday is going to be a high of 67. Basically, it's going to be a sunny weekend with a little bit of rain on Saturday. Yeah. Heading over to Queens, New York, where Sir Big B is. On Saturday, the temperature is going to be 75 degrees with a 60% chance of rain. Sunday is going to be 65 and sunny, and Monday is going to be 61 and sunny. So not too bad overall. Out here in Surprise on Saturday, we are going to have 90 and sunny on Saturday, 86 and partly cloudy on Sunday, and sunny and a high of 83 on Monday. Alrighty, guys. Well, that does it for Mike Reads the News. Hope you guys have a great show. Tschüss, ciao, and auf Wiedersehen. Bye.
All right, Mike reads the news. I'm trying to find the right thing here. That's not what I wanted. That's what we needed. One more quick little ad here, folks.
Halloween is coming. Soon it'll be time to break out the costumes. Join us on Halloween night for some scary fun and laughter.
Stay tuned, ladies and gentlemen. More on that coming. We always have a good time on Halloween. Mike Jolitz. Hey, Big B, I do have to say, when he does the weather, and I'm glad I still haven't gotten answered how we ironed out all that stuff. But it is a very mild October for us up here in the northern portion of the United States and southern portion of Canada.
I have my air conditioner on in the background here. It was 80 degrees today.
It's humid.
It was 80 degrees today, and it was 80 degrees yesterday. It's second summer.
I will never have to move to Arizona or Florida. If it's Greta Thunberg, eat my ass. It could stay like this forever. I love it. All right. I know you're writing that down. I didn't mean that to be a candidate for showing. Anyway,
but it's funny. So I have to write it down.
Get into this stuff. One of my favorite segments now.
I have to pull them up. Hold on.
That's okay. We still have to bring it in. It's time now, ladies and gentlemen, for our next segment.
It's time.
Oh, no, it's not that one.
Now, it's time for the news with our senior correspondent, the Big B.
Whoa. I was smooth with that one. I recovered well from that. Over to Sir Big B. We've got some good stories for you this week. Let me know when you're ready. By the way, ladies and gentlemen, you're listening to Cave Crew Radio. The Halloween special will not be Halloween night, as Scott said. It will be the 29th of October, which is the Friday. We usually have a good time. We usually scare guests away, no pun intended, but we might have a guest or two that night. And
are we going to have a very scary clown come on?
Or a Bigfoot investigator that doesn't want to insult his church? Maybe I'd love to get a past life or a tarot reader, if any of you know anyone, to read Big B and I's past lives or tarot cards, and you in the audience can join in as well. I think it would be a lot of fun on Halloween. But anyway, we have a good time with it. And Mike Jolitz, by the way, has assured me he's going to have a very scary news portion for that part of the show.
Nice.
You ready to go?
I am.
I'm so good at buying you time. Here we go.
I appreciate that. This from the Washington Post. The headline reads, an anti-vaxxer gave his phone number out during a rally. Now he's urging lazy, weak people to stop calling.
Lazy, weak people.
That's right. This comes from your neck of the woods up there in DK. A man who has for months rallied against Canadian vaccine and mask mandates gave out his phone number during a protest last week, repeating the digits into a microphone while telling the crowd he has nothing to hide. Chris, who goes by the name Chris Sky, told the crowd objecting to vaccine mandates in Toronto on Saturday that, unlike politicians, I'm not afraid of anybody. He was giving out his phone number, he said, so people with resources who actually want to help the country could contact him. 2 days and literally thousands of phone calls later, took to Twitter to tell people to stop ringing his cell. I gave my number out in Toronto and specifically said it was for people who either need help or people, more importantly, that have the resources to actually help make a difference. He said it was so people could call me it wasn't so people could call me every 5 seconds and ask me the exact same question I've already answered 1 million times. Quite angry about this.
Oh, I can't wait. I'm ready to fly off the handle. Who shares baseless claims about the coronavirus, said public health measures enacted during the pandemic are meant to enslave people. He has repeatedly called into question the safety of the coronavirus vaccines, referring to them on Saturday in front of the Toronto Eaton Centre as an experimental death jab. Dundas, ladies and gentlemen. Queen Street and Dundas.
and Dumbass, Queen Street.
Dundas. Queen
I,
Street, Dundas.
I live on Dumbass Boulevard. Is that what it is?
Name it whatever you want. Toronto's a special town.
Special isn't the word. Data from hundreds of millions of coronavirus vaccines administered around the world have been studied for safety. Studies and data show fully immunized people are far less likely to be hospitalized with severe infections than those who are unvaccinated. Said he was unhappy with questions from lazy, weak people who called after he gave out his number. If you're going to call me and ask me what to do about a vaccine mandate at your job or anywhere else, I'm just going to hang up on you because I already answered that question 100,000 times. So
Right.
all right. So, so he
I'll
could
let
not
you go first because I have to tell you a personal story.
Okay.
When you're done this.
So he gave out his phone number during the protest, but now in the story, he could not be reached at the number he gave out on Saturday and did not respond to request for comment submitted to his website. So it's tweeted on Wednesday that he made the video telling people not to call him with stupid questions because he gets upset when Canadians show weakness. So let me understand this. This retard in front of thousands of people. Now, I'm not calling him a retard because of his stance. You can have a stance all you want. I don't give a shit. You're a retard because you gave out your phone number to thousands of people and then you don't want them to call. If they call and ask the same question and you answer and you say you've already answered a million times, well, the person that called doesn't know the answer because you didn't tell him.
You didn't answer it correctly.
Right. You didn't answer it correctly. You didn't tell that person specifically, so they want to know. If you give out your phone number, what do you expect is going to happen?
Right.
Especially, all of these things are videotaped. All of these things are plastered all over YouTube. So now you've given out your phone number to people in fucking Yemen, asking about the fucking vaccine. So people are going to call you and ask you retarded questions because you're an asshole.
Yeah. You think you'd learn from the song Jenny. I got
8675309.
Yeah. Listen, I'm same as you. I stand at a point right now where I feel everyone has had the opportunity to have said jab. Whether you want it or not, it's inconsequential to me. We have a passport here in Canada. The border is opening to vaccinated people. Said 85% of the population that is eligible has taken it in most countries. I got a guy who again started following me today, telling me, I told you there's camps being set up, 1,000 acres. They're going to start hoarding people in, and shut the fuck up. I just want to get to normal. Whatever I did, I did. If I took it in my body, I took it in my body. If I choose not to, that's my thing. This isn't a scandal. It is what it is. Major corporations are telling people, Stellantis, the new name for Chryslers, must be vaccinated.
The new name for
police
what?
Forces, hospitals, governments. It is what it is. This is something we've never seen in our lifetime. Me personally, you've had your choice, one way or the other. Open it up. If it's herd immunity because you haven't gotten it and get rid of the weak, great. If you've gotten it and you'll accept the booster, great. It's time to move on.
I agree.
Internment camps.
I agree 100%.
Pick you up in a train. You have not been injected with a microchip. I'm so sick of this bullshit.
Yeah, Bill Gates isn't coming for you.
Right.
You don't have Windows 95 injected into your fucking veins. Can you go back to the first thing you said? It was stalag. What did you say?
It was like
stalactite, whatever the fuck it was.
Stalagmite, I don't remember now.
I don't. It was some weird word that I never heard of. That you said we call it something or other.
I don't remember. You're gonna have to go back and listen. And it's a great reason to have a download. What I'm saying is I've got people telling me you're infringing on my rights. Now Stellantis was what maybe you're talking about.
That's it.
That's
what is that?
Of Chryslers. That's the European conglomerate that now owns the American automaker.
Oh, okay.
Which in my town is a major employer. Used to run 3 shifts and is announced in the spring they're only going to run 1 shift. But I've got a lot of opinions about that too, about the greed of the auto worker and the amount of money they work or they get paid and how they price themselves out of the economy.
Correct.
That's the right wing in me, and I'm not going to speak on that. Not tonight. I made my choice. You made your choice. We're the same. I have care less now. It was a concern before because you couldn't get the vaccine. There wasn't enough supply. Now there is. They're not going to send you to an internment camp, but there's a price to pay with every decision in life. And be it not going to a restaurant or not being able to travel or not being able to be employed. Let me remind you, your children cannot go to school if they are not vaccinated with polio and tuberculosis and chickenpox. This is not new. This is not a scandal. This caught us all by surprise, and a lot of people died. And the ones that New Zealand, who thought they could just zip it down, ended up backfiring on them. It's time to move on. The economy needs to move on. We're apparently not going to get Christmas presents now because of the backlog of lack of truck drivers and cargo ships stuck out in ports that they can't deliver their stock. And I know in Canada the problem is because people are still getting CERB payments for not doing anything. No. Get out and get a job.
That's the exact same thing here too. What they call the Great Resignation. People are not going to work because the government gonna help me. The government gonna pay me. That's gonna stop real fucking soon.
Wake up call.
Then you're gonna have to go get a fucking job.
Yeah.
But
you may have to get a shot. Anyway, I don't want to be sour like that. I don't want to put my opinion on all these things that I get quite passionate about. I already lost it on, well, not lost it on my wife, but I told her. She said, "Oh, they're cutting Chrysler down to 1 shift." I told you that 15 years ago. Greedy workers. There's always somewhere cheaper to make a product.
Everybody wants to know why nothing is made in America anymore.
And Canada.
Well, yeah, I can't speak on Canada because I don't live there. I'm
exactly the same economy as you.
Speaking
so fucking socialist. We're fucking anal.
Speaking from being a U.S. citizen, where Detroit was the #1 car manufacturer in the world. We manufactured textiles and clothes and everything here. You know, after World War II, we blew up with manufacturing. We were the number one manufacturer in the world. The reason why we don't manufacture anything in this country anymore is because of the unions. Now, of course, all the left wing, all the pro-union people will, I should be crucified because I say this. Unions were wonderful when it was needed. There was no labor laws on the books. The owners of these companies were taking full advantage of the workers. They needed unions to.
It had its time.
It had its time. It was necessary when unions became relevant. It was necessary for unions to be there to establish all these working policies, to establish fair wages and all of this. What happened was that the unions got way too much power and demanded so much money beyond what the cost to make something as opposed to what it was actually worth came way out of balance. So the corporations said, okay, well, if you're going to continue to demand this and we can't afford to pay it because it doesn't make sense financially, we're going to go somewhere else where it's cheaper. And that's exactly what happened. That's exactly why we don't make things in this country anymore, because the union leadership has priced themselves out of work.
It's that stupid bullshit of people. And I get it. I'm a working person too. But I think I have a little bit of common sense. Tax the rich. Drive them out of here. And where's our jobs going to come from? I'm gonna tell you two things, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to tell you two things. This is what's interesting about the union right now, Big B, that I'm right across from Detroit, so I'm in a heavy union area. Well, now the union is revolting against their leaders because the union has come right out and said, if you don't get vaccinated, I want to tell you right now, when it comes to a court, you're going to lose and you're going to be terminated. Mm-hmm. And now the union's saying, I thought you fought for us. I thought you were. Maybe we might see a counterbalance because it's common economics, ladies and gentlemen. It's common economics that you learn in grade 11. You have the resources. You harvest the resources. You manufacture the resources. And you sell them. All within your economy. What happens now is Canada, great example. Lots of trees, lots of lumber. Cut the trees here. Sure. Ship them. Someone builds a table and we pay 10 times the price for the tree we cut down. People don't see it that way. We're in a very strange mindset. Certain people are calling for a reset. I don't even know if we can reset. I don't even think we ever can.
It's a basic understanding of economics, which a lot of people don't have. They don't understand how economics work. Supply and demand, cost benefit analysis, things like this. People don't understand that. So whereas, prices were down, why are prices so high now as opposed to 1956? Just, say. Well, because the product is still the same. The process is generally the same, but those that do it are continually asking for higher wages. And what the government is doing, this is, it's not just the unions, it's the government, because the government causes inflation, which makes the prices of things go up, which makes the prices, the price of everyday products go up, which makes the unions demand higher salaries, which makes the end result of the product that they make more expensive than it was 30 years ago. It's the same exact product, it's the same exact process. The government and the unions have worked in tandem, whether they know it or not, to artificially raise the cost of making this product.
Right.
So simple economics.
They're trying to kill capitalism, which
Right.
if you want to talk about auto workers, you look at Henry Ford. Ford was a smart guy. I'm going to invest $1 for you to make me a dime. He realized if he took care of his employees and built them houses, and Hiram Walker, the booze manufacturer, was the same way. You build a society, they will in turn buy the product.
Right.
The greed of the worker. In government, you're right. Government's off the rock, but the greed of the worker has shifted this beyond. It's ridiculous. You can't make $30 an hour to put a screw in a piece of metal.
Right.
An engineer, a doctor, a scientist, an entrepreneur deserves that kind of money.
And by the way,
a fucking laborer. Okay.
While we're on the subject of Henry Ford, really quick, because a lot of the people I know that are in unions, whenever Labor Day comes up and they throw this out there, and it's completely false. The reason why there are weekends where people don't work on Saturday and Sunday, and the reason why they are certain holidays, is not because the unions fought for it. It's because Henry Ford started that so his workers can go out and buy his products. Just FYI for all you union
a really
folks.
weird way of thinking. Reward people, and the money will eventually
Right.
be
So just
reciprocated. Yeah.
Right. So just FYI, the unions did not negotiate this. Henry Ford started this so his workers would buy his products on their day off.
Spend money.
Just FYI.
Anyway, enough of that. Ladies and gentlemen, this guy's an asshole that we just talked about. Don't give your phone number out if you don't want people to call you.
Right. It's the dumbest thing on the planet.
You know, if you want, it's like Big B said last week, about 50 people want to fall in love with you. Put your number out there. It's like fishing, right?
Mm-hmm.
You cast the line, you're going to get some bad bait. Eventually, you'll catch the fish you want. This next story kind of goes along with what we're talking about. It's an interesting one. It's about ransomware. And talk about competition in business.
It's very interesting. This coming from zdnet.com. The headline reads, ransomware gangs are complaining that other crooks are stealing their ransoms. Shit. Hold on. Here we go. Cyber criminals are using a ransomware as a service scheme. Have been spotted complaining that the group they rent the malware from could be using a hidden backdoor to grab ransom payments for themselves.
So, well, maybe it's not my time to interject yet, but this kind of goes along with giving out your phone number. Big B, I know you're a crook, but I'd like to get in bed with you.
Right.
What do you expect the crooks to do?
It's amazing to me that this is actually a story.
And if you're a crook, why would you rat on another crook?
It's Revil, R-E-V-I-L, so it's like re-evil, is one of the most notorious and most common forms of ransomware around, and has been responsible for several major incidents. The group behind Revil, re-evil, lease their ransomware out to other crooks in exchange for a cut of the profits these affiliates make by extorting Bitcoin payments in exchange for the ransomware decryption keys that the victims need. So basically, it's like leasing a car.
It's like it's like an affiliate program for lazy pieces of shit.
It's the
trying to rob
affiliate,
people.
it's the affiliate criminal network.
Yeah.
They lease the ransomware. Ladies and gentlemen, you know, like when you go to a car dealership and you go and you lease your vehicle, you pay a certain amount every month and then you give it back. That's what these people are doing. They're leasing their illegal software to other people. And they expect honesty out of this.
Right. Did you read the fine print, if there is any?
And for those of you who don't understand what's going on here, is ransomware is where hackers will take control of your server, your computer, what have you, and demand that a payment be made in a certain denomination. It's all cryptocurrency. Before they give decryption keys, the decryption keys unlock the ransom lock that's on
like a
all of your
computer
information.
chastity belt.
Exactly. It's a computer. I like that. It's a computer chastity belt.
To throw you off. Sorry. Just trying to put it into normal people's union talk. I'm using union talk.
Right. So it's a computer chastity belt that you have to pay an amount in Bitcoin or cryptocurrency to get the key to unlock the chastity belt. The story continues. It seems that the cut isn't enough for those behind ReEvil. It was recently disclosed that there's a secret backdoor coded into their product, which allows ReEvil to restore encrypted files without the involvement of the affiliate.
I like what Facebook user said. If reverse cyber criminals, scammers were dyslexic and paid you instead of them, we'd all be debt free.
That's very true.
What a great idea. Anyway, carry on.
This would allow ReEvil to take over negotiations with the victims, hijack so-called customer support chats, and steal ransom payments for themselves. So what you're telling me is the criminal that's leasing out their criminal software is not being honest with the other criminals and taking the ransom that criminals would want. So they are increasing their criminal empire.
They're basically, it's like I want to say a phishing scheme. So you're getting me to get you the customer, and then like, fuck you, I'm not paying you commission.
Right.
What are you going to do about it?
Right.
Are you going to rat it on them because we're doing this article?
Are you going to call the cops?
Yeah, but who reported this? Hey, listen, I'm a crook. I want to come clean. I signed up for this really shady thing. I knew it was illegal. Just want to make a couple bucks on the side. Turns out these fuckers fuck me.
Right.
Don't have a case to stand on.
Yeah, that's 100% accurate. It says analysis of underground forums by cybersecurity researchers at Flashpoint suggests that the disclosure of the ReEvil backdoor hasn't gone down well with their affiliates. One forum user claimed
people signing up. That's the beauty of this.
I mean, that's amazing to me.
This is better than Avon.
And let's just go back. There's a cybersecurity research facility called Flashpoint. Why aren't they doing anything about this to shut this down?
This is so much fun.
Right. They're just looking at the forums.
Yeah. Don't bust them yet, or we'll be out of work too.
Right.
Don't tell the union.
One forum user complained. One forum user claimed to have had suspicions of ReEvil's tactics and said their own plans to extort $7 million from a victim was abruptly ended.
So they came forward and admitted it.
Right.
You
They had plans to
fucking idiot.
They had plans to extort $7 million, but Re-Evil thwarted that plan.
So I got a side. You asked me about betting earlier.
Right.
I'm betting on Re-Evil. They're the smart ones.
Right. It says here, another user on the Russian-speaking forum, no kidding, complained that they were tired of lousy partner programs used by ransomware groups you cannot trust. Let me say that again. A criminal said they were tired of lousy partner programs that you cannot trust.
I love it. Fuck! You can't make a decent buck in this planet anymore.
Right? You can't legitimately rip off somebody for $7 million anymore. They suggest Re-Evil as one of the most lucrative ransomware as a service schemes means that wannabe ransomware crooks will still flock to become affiliates.
Oh fuck yeah!
That's
it's like
particularly
a crack addict.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I'll go from Re-Evil to Re-Evil.
Right, yeah.
Knowing that Re-Evil is still going to sneak in and take all your money.
For those scammers who think they've been scammed, and there's not a lot they can do about it, and few would have sympathy for them.
Has anyone established a helpline?
Well, one forum user suggested any attempt at dealing with this situation would be as useless as trying to arbitrate against Stalin.
Hang on. What was that? Useless?
Useless as trying to arbitrate against Stalin. It says ransomware remains one of the key cybersecurity issues facing the world today. And we all agree that it's a huge issue, but why is not this forum, this cybersecurity researchers at Flashpoint, why are they not doing more?
Yeah, I don't have the answer to that.
I have no idea.
All right. Listen, our next story, these stories are all kind of flowing into each other. I don't know that we're going to get to everyone, but we'll carry on next week. I really like this one too. This is, I think the theme of the night, ladies and gentlemen, is fucking idiots. Because this is one of my favorites.
This is when we start moving more into the CCR realm of news.
Yeah. We're like we're guiding you through an astral projection.
Right.
Right? We're just guiding you in the direction that we want you to be in. So now you the guy gave out his phone number, the internet scammers, and now we go to this wonderful story.
This coming from Audacy.com, from 97.1 The Ticket, radio station out of somewhere. Headline reads, woman suing Geico after hooking up with a guy in the backseat of his car gave her an STD. A woman is seeking $1 million.
What the fuck is that lizard going to do about this?
I don't know. A woman is seeking $1 million from Geico after she is involved in an incident with another gentleman whose vehicle was covered by the insurance provider. She's suing Geico because she hooked up with a dude in the backseat of his 2014 Hyundai Genesis, the epitome of all hookup vehicles.
The epitome of I'm clean.
It's certainly not a Ford Probe, but it's a close second.
It's getting close. It's
getting close. And got HPV as a result. Even though they didn't use protection, she still feels Geico owes her a payout because this guy has a policy with them. Geico has filed a counter lawsuit to get the entire case dismissed, adding that their car insurance only covers injuries that happen out of the ownership, maintenance, or use of the car. The situation does not sound like it fits in that category, though the judge has yet to make a ruling.
Why would you need a countersuit? Can you not just deny the claim? Is that not what insurance companies constantly do?
Well, if she's suing them, so this is in a courtroom. So
you bring out the policy. This is not covered under the policy.
Right. So they're gonna file a countersuit saying that this is a baseless claim. It should be dismissed. And if that is the case, they could bring liable charges against her.
To this pig who has not a dollar on her to her name, who also has chlamydia.
Right. So she's getting railed in the ass by this guy in the backseat of a Hyundai fucking Genesis. And she walks out of there with
she's getting the Al Capone treatment. She's dying, ladies and gentlemen. I hope it was worth it.
Right. So she's so now pus is dripping out of her ass.
Now you're peeing green.
Right. Yeah. You got fucking sores on your lips. You got your shit dripping out of your ass. Your pussy lips are turning black and you're peeing green. You're gonna sue Geico because the guy was. Let's be realistic here.
Who he was insured by?
I have no idea. That's a very good question. That was not answered.
First question. It's like playing the game of Clue.
Maybe she went to him and was like, honey,
as a safety net, can I please have a copy of your car insurance?
I have discharge coming out of my ass.
Yeah, but you wouldn't get that for a few days.
Can you tell me what your insurance company is?
This is just along the same line of that world famous commercial. Excuse me, do you have any Grey Poupon?
Oh, the Grey Poupon rapist.
And we
Nothing
can't use
better
that
than the Grey Poupon rapist
show. Yeah. All right. Let's see what the chat is saying. She can charge the man who gave it to her because that's a health violation, disease control lawsuit for sexually transmitted infections act. Yeah. You sound like a lawyer.
But she can't sue Geico. It's not Geico's problem. She can try to do whatever she wants to try to do. It will never work because he could just claim ignorance that he didn't know he had this.
Yeah.
Or he could claim
wear a condom.
Or he could claim that she already had it and was trying to use him as a patsy. There's a whole lot of ways this can go, none of which involves Geico. The little fucking lizard didn't give you a fucking STD.
I know it resembles the same color, but all right, we got to squeeze in one more. So hang on, I don't even know what the next one is. Let me. There you go, ladies and gentlemen. There's the woman with the suing Geico. Hang on, what's the? Oh, this is a good one too. Okay, hang on, folks.
If we're gonna make this the last one, we'll save the final one for next week.
Yeah. We'll because we'll probably be looking for stories next week.
Sure.
So, ladies and gentlemen, and before Big B starts, we got to play his little clip here. It's this one.
It's time
for Big B's Big Bang Story
of the week.
Oh, yes. Another good one that goes, these all kind of knit together nicely like a spider web. They really do.
And the way I chose the stories was trying to weave this story.
If you're quick, maybe we can squeeze it in, but we're really going over here, so I think we should save the.
So, and I like this one because she got a nice looking ass and all that.
She really does.
So this coming from Yahoo. Headline reads, "I could have easily died," said this woman whose wedgie from wearing high-cut jean shorts on a date landed her in the hospital. Sam, a 25-year-old from North Carolina, didn't expect any possible side effects except for her looking super cute when she decided to wear some high-cut jean shorts on a date 3 years ago. And that's the picture where it's the arrow that points to Wedgie.
Right. Do you want me to bring that up one more time here?
I wouldn't mind looking at it.
Yeah. No,
However,
this is probably the most glorious story we've ever covered.
For sure. However, her booty had other plans.
Yeah.
Sam shared her story on TikTok about how the wedgie created by her shorts and underwear actually contributed to her ending up in the ICU with cellulitis and sepsis.
Can I just say something? You notice where she went first. Not 60 Minutes, not CNN, not the nightly news. She went to
Yahoo.
TikTok.
Oh, TikTok, yes.
Yeah. Unbelievable. She had sepsis?
She got cellulitis and sepsis.
How do you get cellulitis?
Cellulitis is a painful skin infection, while sepsis is a life-threatening response to the body has to an infection. I actually know my old singer died from sepsis.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Just an FYI. BuzzFeed.
Like in fact, you know who had that was Bill Clinton had that.
Well, now he has that. Yeah. It can be cured, but it depends on when it gets caught.
If it's caught, yeah.
Right. BuzzFeed reached out to Sam for more details, and she said that although she did pick her wedgie multiple times throughout the day, so she's walking around picking her ass.
Yeah.
There wasn't enough to save her from a hospital visit. The timeline goes like this. I went on a full day date with this guy I was newly dating and realized I was wearing very uncomfortable clothes. I chose to ignore it and just enjoy my time. The next day, I felt very sore and then started feeling ill, just not 100%. That night, I noticed I had a large bump where the chafing had occurred. And as time went on, it started becoming more painful. The pain was isolated to one spot, and it felt like a throbbing, stabbing pain in the ass. Sam went to the doctor the next day to get treated with antibiotics for a possible skin infection. But it was already too late. The very next morning, I was in septic shock and rushed to the ER by my mom. I was shivering, very breathless, could not walk, and had extreme body aches. They admitted me to the ICU, and that's when I realized there was a bit more serious than I had anticipated. I was in the ICU for almost 4 days, where the doctors were debating debridement surgery, basically cutting off a part of my butt that was infected. She almost had ass amputation.
Are you okay?
Yes, I was writing things down. Hold on. I lost it. Here it is. Okay.
That might have just stole the show.
Sam,
after all the union bashing and anti-vaxxer shit we've done, she almost had ass amputation.
Ass amputation. Sam told BuzzFeed that she decided to share her story because she thought it would be funny for her TikTok followers, but she never expected to get the attention it has. It currently has 7.8 million views and thousands of comments.
I'm telling you how powerful this TikTok shit is.
It's crazy. Well, you know, if you're almost getting your ass amputated, it may lead to a couple of views. Most people were shocked that this could happen, but I was extremely surprised at the amount of people saying the same thing happened to them too. I'm happy I made the TikTok, and although it's extremely scary to have one of the most embarrassing things that has ever happened to me on the internet, It reminds people that we're all human and experience weird stuff, and it's nothing to be ashamed of.
So we've all gotten boils from wearing shorts.
I've never worn short
Neither
shorts.
have I. I prefer long, loose pants. Never been a skinny jean guy. I don't want to risk sepsis.
Right. So, as an add-on to the story, to get a better idea of how comfy shorts and underwear can land you in the ICU, I reached out to Dr. Carmen Fong, a licensed
Carmen Fong,
a licensed colorectal surgeon and ass doctor.
Surgeon.
Dr. Fong told BuzzFeed that more often than not, these kinds of infections and cases are caused by an anorectal abscess. So she had an abscess in her ass, and the fabric from the underwear inflamed it.
Yeah, I'm here.
And that's it.
All right. I didn't have a list until about 10 minutes ago, ladies and gentlemen.
Let me tell you, Facebook user is very involved tonight.
Yes, and that's excellent, and we love your participation, and we appreciate it. And share the show, and tell others about it, and please let everyone know about Cave Crew Radio, because we've covered a lot of ground tonight, ladies and gentlemen, and I personally would like to feel that there is something for everyone on this show. We've talked about trivia. We've talked about gambling addiction. We've talked about renovations. We've reviewed Netflix shows and a lot more. All right. I'm going to throw out a few.
Sure.
I'm sure you're going to top me on this because I just I really like the affiliate criminal program.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man, I don't think I wrote this down right. Something against Stalin. I didn't write it down right. A real pain in the ass. But my all-time favorite was she almost had an ass amputation. And then that anorectal abscess was kind of good too. I'm going to guess that Big B has 4. He's been doing a lot of talking.
You are correct.
See, I'm getting good at this. Fire away.
First off, going back to our review of Squid Game, when I said it was awful and wonderful at the same time, Facebook user said, all wonderful.
Okay, how do I spell that? I knew you were
AWWFONDERFUL.
FOND. Yeah.
FUL. All wonderful.
Oh, wonderful. That was good.
I thought that would be an eye-catching kind of title. Next, a computer chastity belt. I did like that one.
Yeah, that was computer. Well, great show notes coming up, ladies and gentlemen.
My next one is probably my favorite, but I know it's not going to be the title, but I want to bring it up anyway. Greta Thunberg, eat my ass.
Yeah, I might get in trouble for that.
Right. Yeah, that's why I said it's my favorite, but I don't think it's going to be a show name. But I want it in there anyway.
Yeah, I got you.
And finally, this one I believe should be the show name, and we are on the same wavelength, although mine is shorter. I said simply ass amputation.
All right, yeah, that's better. We are on the same.
On this Facebook world, Facebook user is Squirrel, by the way.
Oh, hey, Squirrel. Great job here.
I like when she's on. She's very, very interactive, especially tonight.
Always interactive. Lots
very,
of
very interactive tonight.
Invited her to play Believe It or What, but she's shy.
That's fine.
That's okay. But she's very knowledgeable. Ass Amputation is the name of the show. I think we were both on that. That's something I personally don't know anyone that has gone through that.
Me neither. And I think it's quite the show name where people would be drawn in to understand what ass amputation is.
Yeah. Because we don't have time. But I mean, it's all fat. Like, just let it be. I've never seen anyone with one buttock.
Well, I mean, they have ass implants.
Well, I guess they have they have leg extensions, and I'm not trying to be rude, but I mean, if you have no hand, you can get a hand. I guess you can get what are you ordering it from realdoll.com? You know, those sex dolls. Can I please get a left buttock?
That could be a show name too. Can I please get a left buttock?
We'll add that to the show notes.
Well, you know how, like, you know, certain women, and I actually do know one girl that had breast reduction surgery because they were so big that it was heavy, and it was actually a physical problem for them because, you know, it was hurting their back. So could there be an ass reduction surgery?
Well, I'm sure that's part of liposuction. I imagine if you're, you know, getting a vacuum of your stomach and you're getting your breasts. I've heard of that too, where the breasts hurt their back.
Right. I know a girl that went through that. Her breasts were so big.
We all do.
Yeah, her breasts were so big that she was in physical pain from her back. So
I've never met any of my buddies that have said, I'm going for a penis reduction. It's just too huge. I can't stand it any longer.
Yeah, no, that's not a thing.
No. Boobs, yes. Tightening of vagina, yes, but not a penis reduction.
Tightening of a vagina.
Yes, they do that. You should Google it.
What is tightening? You bring this up like, you know, you should be ending the show. You bring tightening the vagina up.
I don't know. Or either check with someone in like Taiwan. I think they put like lemon juice in their hoo-ha and it shrivels it just before sex.
That reminds me of, like, you know, like a fucking, you know, a thing where you're spinning and it's tightening and tightening and tightening.
Right. It's probably something like that. I'm not a doctor.
Tightening of the vagina. Next week's show title, ladies and gentlemen, tightening of the vagina.
Already been determined. See, we're so far ahead this week. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, we got to go. I got to get a bite to eat. Big B has major construction plans tomorrow, and we want him to get a good night's sleep. Now, if you do want to reach Big B for after hours, if you're a friend of his on Facebook and a member of the Cave Crew Radio Facebook group, he is always available once you give him a chance to pee, to chat with you after the show, free of charge, no Patreon, none of that crap. He's available to chat with you. Me, I'm out of here. I've had enough. I've got a lot to absorb, as I do every Friday night. Great show, ladies and gentlemen. We'll see you next week. Cave Crew Radio is the name of the show. You can find us anywhere you find good podcasts. And, of course, we're always live, so don't be shy to come by and say hello. We'll see you.
Later.
Thank you very much for listening to the show. Now stay safe, take care, and wash your hands.
I want you to pack up and get out. Get the hell out of here!
Go! Just go! Get out! Get the hell out!
No! Get out! That will conclude this evening's entertainment.
Shut up! Shut up! Shut up!
Thank you, God bless.
bless you, and God bless America.